Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Gundam Witch from Mercury, episode 20, I think, something thereabouts. Yeah, episode 20, because it's episode 8 of the second season, second core, whatever you want to call it, so all in all, episode 20. The fifth one from the end, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, that checks out. Okay. Let me double check though. Let me double check. It is indeed episode 20. Oh boy. A lot has happened in the previous episode, so do forgive me if I forget to mention some details, because really an awful lot has happened. We had Miorine, Prospera, Guel, and the fat pilot, whose name I forgot, arrive at Earth. Miorine started the negotiations. They were going well enough, but then Prospera decided to start being Prospera, and she fucked shit up, essentially. Took control over the Earthian whatchamacallit, Earthian tanks and other stuff, and started shooting at herself and her people to have an excuse to get the weapons out, get the gun bits out, and go to war with the ultimate goal of destroying a stockpile of Gundams that Dawn of Fold had, question mark? I'm still not entirely sure whose Gundams they were and for what purpose they were there. But Prospera decided that they are an abomination, they go against the spirit of the Gund technology or whatever, and she decided they must be purged, and purge them she did. Too bad she also started an all-out war between the Earth and the space, with Miorine in the middle being blamed for things she didn't do. How's that gonna go? I don't know. I'm honestly not sure. It can go every which way and everything would be on brand for the show. What else happened? Elon 5 found some newfound understanding for not Sophie, the other one, the one voiced by fuck. Sorry, it's early. Haven't had my coffee. The blue-haired assassin girl, and also doesn't help that there's a metric fuck ton of characters in this show. I'm really having a hard time remembering everybody's name. Yeah, Elon 5 found a little bit of an understanding because she doesn't want to die, he doesn't want to die, something to bond over, and Nika was just sitting in a corner watching what the fuck are they doing and being scared that it might lead to a hate fuck. It didn't, not yet, at least. What else happened? The feds got to Bell, and Bell told them that the Quiet Zero, the main part of Quiet Zero, is on Plant Queta for some reason, and apparently, and now they're going there to Plant Queta in order to stop Quiet Zero. Why didn't Prospera start Quiet Zero first things first, and instead she chose to destroy like 15 Gundams? I don't know. Her ways are mysterious, but perhaps she had some reason to do that. We will never know. Or maybe we will. Who knows? And one of the feds, the woman, died to Prospera's sidekick. I mean, died off screen, and we know that if a death happens off screen, it probably didn't happen, but, well, that remains to be seen. What's happening there. Maybe she's working with Prospera as well, and she learned that Bell now knows the secret and the other Fed now knows the secret, and she will now go to report to Prospera. I don't know. Anything can happen, honestly. anything can happen. Allegiances are fluid and never clearly defined, they change all the time, and everybody is a double agent to some degree, so who's to say? Another thing that happened, Guel and the Fat Pilot learned that Shaddiq is behind the Dawn of Fold, or at least cooperating with the Dawn of Fold, and they inferred that Shaddiq is also responsible for the attack on Plant Queta, attack on Asticassia, etc., etc. And now they are on the mission to find Shaddiq's father, Grassley's CEO, because if they find him, that will be a proof that Shaddiq is up to no good. And probably while looking for Shaddiq, for Shaddiq's father, they will find Nika, Ilan, and the blue-haired chick, and they will join forces. Maybe, I don't know. There's so much going on, I'm still having a hard time processing the previous episode, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm still having a hard time processing what just happened. And one more thing. One more thing. Suletta got out of her slump. First meal she ate after emerging from her cocoon. She wanted it to be a bit of ham scavenged from a freezer or whatchamacallit, or a fridge or whatever it was. True to her Tanuki spirit. But her first meal was milk soup, and I guess maybe I'm looking too far into it, or maybe I'm not, I don't know, but she emerged from Ariel, she was ejected in a fetal position, and now her first meal is milk. It really feels a little bit like rebirth, doesn't it? Like Suletta's rebirth, and you can see that little bit of a steeled, I don't know, drive in her. Maybe she suddenly understood everything, what Ariel was trying to do, what Prospera is trying to do, what Miorine is trying to do, all that stuff. She now understands it, probably, maybe, we'll see. And now she will probably spring to action, and that's gonna be interesting. People believe, and I also believe, to be honest with you, that she will man Schwarzette, but it poses an issue with how good Suletta actually is without the support of Eri. And since we know that data storm avoidance is thanks to Eri, not thanks to Suletta being somewhat special, Suletta going permit 2, permit 5, permit whatever inside of Schwarzette will probably cause a data storm. So that's not gonna be fun. We know that Suletta is a clone of Eri, and she is the perfect clone because she is the only one who wasn't turned into a Gandbit. So maybe there is some modifications to her, some transhumanism going on, that actually made her able to pilot any Gundam. That would be interesting if that's the case. We'll see. We'll see. Anything I'm missing? I don't think so. So now I'm gonna pause briefly and close my window because my door is slamming shut every now and then, and we're gonna be able to start watching this episode. How does that sound? And I'm back. Windows closed now. So we can start watching this episode and see what the fuck is going to happen. I'm not even going to try to predict what's going to happen. I think Guel will free our 3 prisoners. Suletta might already make it to Earth and meet up with Miorine, maybe. I don't know how fast of a pace there will be to this episode. Or maybe it's just gonna be preparations. Miorine trying to navigate the war-torn Earth and get to safety, or trying to scavenge the negotiations still. Prospera maybe going to Plant Queta. Suletta perhaps preparing, maybe trying to find a replacement Gundam and stumbling upon Schwarzette. I don't know. That also raises a good question. Why is Schwarzette? Schwarzette isn't necessary, strictly, right? They have Ariel. Okay, Schwarzette might be a proof that Gundam Incorporated can create a Gundam proper, but that's about it. Schwarzette is a little bit of a Chekhov's gun, I feel, and I feel it might fire this episode or the next one. Again, everything depends on how fast they want to pace it. Whether they want to slow down a little bit or they want to throw in 17 different important events into a single episode like they did in the previous one. Yeah, I have pretty much no expectations for this episode, except it's gonna be good and defecation is gonna hit the ventilation. It already did, but there is always a potential for it to do more. So, yeah, I'm just gonna stop babbling and we can start watching this episode. And to do that, of course, you're gonna need your subs to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on, and I'm also gonna have to ask you for your support, monetary, for example, on Patreon, linked in the description below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. And with all of that out of the way, that's gonna we can start watching this episode 20 of Gundam Witch from Mercury in 3, 2, 1, go. What are those noises? Oh, it's her. Of course. She's straight up not having a good time. No. Yep. I hope we get a Duel versus Shadik duel. Okay, Shadik himself is launching, in my KLEs. Which is gonna be a problem, because Guel doesn't have his Gundam with him, his mobile suit. For Guel to have a level playing field with Shadik, he would have to make it to Asticassia first, retrieve his mobile suit, and then go to war? Unless he, for some reason, took his Gundam with him to Earth? I don't think that's what happened. There's Delling again. It would be so funny if everything was resolved by Delling just waking up from his coma and suddenly there's no more election and he takes control over the Benerit Group and solves all the issues. That would be anticlimactic, but also so incredibly funny. There is a reason that he's in a coma and not dead. Okay, so he figured out how it works. He came to visit you. Poor Martin. Yeah. True. Just ignore it. Yeah. I mean, Lilik isn't entirely wrong. Oh, directly to Suletta. And what do you want? Okay, so Suletta is still in the passive indifference phase. Blush? Blush. Okay, so we have Daribalde, at least, or Darilbalde. Shadik. Shadik and his harem. And his launching. Because he knows Guel is with you. And Guel hot-headed as always, jumping straight into battle. Oh, and Shadik is still about Miorine purity and whatnot. Time to stop using green beams. See, Shadik has the good idea. It's no longer training. Okay, at least the odds are even. 5v5. Okay, we're getting Shadik versus Guel fight much earlier than I expected. Oh, he's just releasing them? Interesting. The witch, meaning the Aoyuki character? Kenanjin, that's his name. Oh, dropped her notebook. And Nika is, as always, just a passive observer. Okay, now she's doing something. Nora, that's her name. Okay, I want to live and fight for it versus I want to live and to do that I will run. Two very different sides of the I want to survive coin. Okay, already straight up jumping into a data storm. Not even ramping up slowly, just straight up permit 5 or whatever. Taking all the gun Volbas. Is Elon 5 gonna pilot Elfrit Ur? Is she just going to destroy Asticassia? Because that would be very misdirected anger. Okay, so it is a misdirected anger. It is. Is it gonna be Noria versus Elon? Because that would be interesting. Yeah, you should probably run. Good idea. Ooh, that was close. Suletta right now is indifferent to surviving or dying. That's a death flag. That's a death flag, my dear. As I was saying... Whomst? Oh, it's Noria. I thought it's some other suit because I saw bits of red. It's not gonna be easy fighting against the Cathedral forces. Cathedral mobile suits were made for the explicit purpose of destroying Gundams after all. I mean, he's not incorrect. And Snap. And also Snap in Loda. Oof. Oh, was that Miorine's greenhouse? And who's piloting those mobile suits? Students? Oh, is Cecilia and this guy joining us? Okay. Another modified demi. By Nika. And Nika is on her way. And something tells me Cecilia somehow knew. Okay, good going there, Martin. Martin really grew as a character, didn't he? Well, not all of it, but a majority of it. Weird that they are still aiming for the head instead of the chest. You'd think a Gundam or a mobile suit would still be able to move even without a head, right? Sure, it has sensors and cameras and whatnot, but the pilot is in the chest. Shadiq doesn't really need help, to be fair. Okay, so Shadiq essentially wanted Miorine to be the perfect trophy wife. And the fact that Miorine is getting involved is what dirties her. I mean, Shadiq isn't entirely incorrect. Without power, you can't really do it much. That's a very protagonist versus antagonist fight, isn't it? And some epic music. Been a while since we heard a track this epic in Witch from Mercury. Oh, okay, that was easy. That went straight through the cockpit. Or at least the hip region. Okay. That was easy. Too bad Shadiq is still alive. Whomst. Lauda? Okay, that was a confusing end of that fight, not gonna lie. You'll destroy yourself before anything with how your data storm is going. Okay, so he is piloting Ur. Now kiss. Okay. Okay, that problem solved. Now slowly turn off the permit, or you're actually gonna die. Or is she just going to kill herself now? Or is someone going to kill her? The latter. And it was just a random mass produced mobile suit of the cathedral that did it. Not even the fat guy. And now Elon is taking over the Gandvolvas and fighting. Or running. Where are you going, Elon? Is she dead? She is. Okay. A lot of people died this episode. The end of hope seems very apt. No, you wish it was, but it isn't. Is Suletta broken again? No. The opposite. Or both. Broken and driven. Okay, the medical equipment you might or might not have devised might actually come in useful. People were joking that the titles of the episodes in this show are not, for the most part, not actually describing the episode itself. Right? That the title might be used as a catchphrase a couple of times during the episode, or might not mean what everybody would think it meant. Things like that. This is one of those episodes that are titled very aptly. It really is an end of hope to so many people. To so many people. So many people were broken during the course of just 20 odd minutes. What we can do now? Okay, that gives us a little bit of hope, right? Shit's fucked. What can we do now? And also very cool art. Oh boy. Oh, that was a heavy episode. That was a heavy, heavy episode. Not unpredictable, though. Not unpredictable. A lot of what happened in this episode didn't really surprise me that it happened, you know? Very heavy, very good, but also quite predictable. Not gonna lie. Didn't detract from the enjoyment though. So that's a good thing. Okay, so let's watch it again, shall we? In response to Benerit Group's attack, Earth Independence Movement leader declares that they will join the fight for independence. Okay, we've already read it in the previous episode. You take from me again. Yeah, it's all my fault. Of course, we essentially get a little bit of last time on Dragon Ball Z, but indirectly. It's not repeating what happened in the previous episode, but rather giving us hooks as to what happened and the bits of continuation, but direct continuation, so we can our memory is stirred a little and we remember what happened in the previous episode. The first step is to reach Asticassia and secure Sarius. We still have no evidence that Shadik is the ringleader. Of course. Contact the Space Assembly League. That confirms even more, and rather directly confirms, that Shadik is working with the Sal. Don't misunderstand our objectives. We're so close to making it. No, this wasn't Miorine. This was Guel. And of course, Shadik is laser focused on Guel. He really believes that Guel somehow dirtied Miorine by, I don't know doing what exactly, but still. This is a cool visual. Cecilia just interrogating Martin and this guy shining a red light. I don't know if this red light actually does something, but also a bit of skin dentation on Cecilia's legs, and she's standing up. That's how you know shit's getting serious. Cecilia is standing up. Gambits are controlling nearby machines. This is interesting. He figured it out. Did nobody else figure it out? Weird. Unless he's some prodigy genius that managed to analyze the data using artificial intelligence and his special Haru or whatever, then it would stand to reason that others might also have noticed. Although I guess people of Earth were more preoccupied with trying to survive than with trying to figure out what exactly happened. So makes sense. He had the time and the peace to sit down and calmly, slowly analyze the data and figure things out. Okay, yeah, makes sense. And of course, Martin doesn't know anything. He just came to report that, hey, Cecilia, you gave me good advice. I patched things up with everybody. I'm grateful. That's cool. I really like Cecilia. I really like Martin. Martin really grew on me as a character. How many complaints do we have now? The Aerial is a killing machine. Weren't you a medical company? This is how Benerit Group does things. I mean, yeah. Inquiry, cancelling order for gun prosthetics. You'd do this to become president. Delete that disgusting PR video at once, of course. Saving lives, more like something. I was a fan of Miss Miorine, but hold a shareholder meeting and dissolve company. You're the face of spatial supremacism. You call this justice. Listen to the Earthians' anger. Delete that. And she has the good idea. Just turn it the fuck off. Just turn it off. Leave it to Miorine. It's, let's not bog our thoughts down with negative shit. Leave it to Miorine. It's her deal. Should we be good and go to class like her? It cannot be denied that concern for pilot life support was extremely low. Yeah. In the early years of space development, in the view of historians, humanity's advancement into space was fairly hasty and aggressive. Like every advancement in humanity's history, pretty much. And the loss of so many lives due to data storms and whatnot. Interesting that she just acts so friendly to Suletta now. It's the only thing I can think of doing. I really thought Suletta is going to enter the driven mode, right? Okay, I understand things. Let's figure out how to get to Earth, how to help Miorine, how to, solve those problems. To get to the bottom of it, we need to find the truth. Chop, 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 chop. Not quite. She's in the very indifferent phase of depression, essentially. I remember that feeling from my own example. You walk the edge of the sidewalk, and there's a truck coming from in front of you, and you just you walk the edge of the sidewalk. If it hits me, that's cool. If it doesn't hit me, I guess that's also cool. I get to live another day. If it hits me and I die, well, sure, I guess that's also acceptable. A lot of indifference, and that's the phase Suletta is experiencing right now. It's the only thing I can think of doing. Yeah, it's part of my routine, so I just keep to the routine mindlessly. I don't get anything out of it. I don't actually do anything actively. I've just always been going to school, so I continue going to school. It's as simple as that. If you hadn't been there, Mr. Loda might have died. Okay, so she's grateful for saving Loda. And of course, she's in love with Loda. And that's the first end of hope. She can no longer hope to be with Loda because she died. Why bring a mobile suit off campus? And what's that other one I saw at the company? Yeah, that's why you bring a mobile suit off campus, because Grassley is after your head. And Loda is still ignorant to that. Well, not ignorant, but he doesn't know the details. What business do Cathedral forces have at our school? And of course, Duel is attacking head on, not thinking, no thoughts, head empty, just revenge. That Miorine has been dirtied by you, yada yada yada. Did you remove the regulation program? Yeah. I mean, honestly, what did you expect? That he's just going to shoot you with training beams and shoot down your antenna and you're just gonna give up because your antenna was destroyed? No. It's battle to the death. Honestly surprising that Guel didn't take off the limiters or whatever. And of course, they Shadik's people aren't playing fair. They brought reinforcements. Thankfully, Guel also has reinforcements in the shape of cathedral forces. Attempt to show us how much better you are than the school. Let them go. We have no more reason to hide them. That was a weird decision. That was a very weird decision. You know, Noria is driven to fight, to destroy, to kill. You know that Elan 5 has a reason to hate you. You know that Nika is a core part of the Earth House, and that Earth House has a reason to stand up against you. It seems very weird that Shadik just let them go. Honestly, he gains more by keeping them imprisoned than he does by releasing them. Very weird that he did that, honestly. We'll use the witch for as long as we can. That was about to be my second question. How did Noria gain access to Ulfrid Thorn? Wasn't it like locked down or her permissions revoked or, something like that? But I guess it was a part of Shadik's plan for Noria to just wreak havoc on Asticassia? To occupy the cathedral forces, maybe? Possible. Kananji Avery, commander in Cathedra's Dominicus force. All students stay where you are. That's bad advice. They should all hide underground. Doors open and Noria is the first one to run off, of course. And Nika also... First, it's her standard look from her imprisonment. What the fuck is going on? Huh? What are you doing, people? And then... I'm going to go meet my Earthian friends and we're going to solve this problem. She's suddenly driven. That's cool. Why pilot a Gundam again? If you're afraid to die, then run. Two very different approaches to living. I want to live, but not exist. Not just exist. I want to live. That's why I need to strive for a good world to live in. So I will risk my life so that I can live and live well on Noria's part. Versus Elan's, I want to live just as in my bodily functions. I want to continue existing. I will run, I will hide, I will live in the sewers if that means I get to survive. Two very different approaches to I want to live. That's cool. That's some very cool duality between Noria and Elan. Because of Uspatian's brutality, everyone I knew is dead, not even Nanji or Olcott, and especially not you, could ever understand our anger that our lives are cheaper than Spatian's. I mean, at this moment, you kinda are making your life cheaper than a Spatian life. You're very readily giving it up for what purpose? Destroying some school buildings and jumping straight up into high permit. Sophie, let's demolish it, the entire school and everything else. She's just battle crazed right now, just angry, just furious. She just wants to destroy. Reinforcements from Grassley, not quite. It's just Noria and the Gundvolvas. Legit just destroying the school. Just destroying school, not really, focusing on the cathedral forces, not flying off into space to help people on Earth, just wreaking havoc randomly. Demitray was destroyed. Do you wanna die? No, I don't wanna die. It's because Mr. Loda stood me up on our date. An apology won't be enough. He's gonna take me wherever I ask. He owes me a lunch and a dinner. What will you do if you survive? Well, I want to be at his side again. And that's a death flag if I've ever seen one. That's why it's, her dying here didn't really surprise me much. Honestly. It's a tragic moment. It's a sad moment because I really liked her as a character. And he worked really well with Loda, but it was such an obvious death flag that if she survived, I would be more surprised. Terrorist mobile suits. Why is he holding his arm, I wonder? Had enough of you Gundams. The one who blamed it all on the Jetter Company. Yeah, it was all Shaddiq. Your father approached us with a plan to assassinate Delling, and Shaddiq simply used that fact. He had some dirt, and he just needed to steer things carefully so that all the fault falls on Guel's father. Factional infighting and intrigues, was a shallow man with nothing else on his mind. That's not entirely incorrect either. He was the one, Shadik's father was the one who hatched that plan, who was into factional infighting and intrigues. Shadik isn't incorrect here. Weren't you the one who killed that father? And Loda had to hear it. Another end of hope. Losing trust, losing, everything in your brother. Guel is the only family that Loda has right now with their father dead. And now he learns that Guel killed their father? That's gonna sting. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna break a man. And straight into the midpoint. Title card. The lives of students and staff are under direct threat. And Miorine's greenhouse is getting destroyed. There's probably some deeper meaning to that, but I honestly can't think of anything right now. There probably are people on Reddit and perhaps even in my comments, right? Who will get some proper deeper meaning out of the destruction of the greenhouse, but I can't really think of anything right now. All I know is that greenhouse was extremely important to Miorine. It was kind of a representation of her heart, right? Who she lets into her heart, who she doesn't let in. Is it Miorine's heart being crushed? Miorine's hopes being crushed? Probably, maybe. It represents Miorine's hopes being crushed because this is what she wanted to avoid. She wanted to avoid fighting. She wanted Gund Arm to be a medical company despite having arm in the name, but I digress. But everything led to so much death, so much destruction, so much anger, so much sadness. It went directly the opposite way of what Miorine wanted, and her hopes, her heart were crushed by a mobile suit. Maybe that's also relevant to the symbolism. I don't know. That's all I have. Please prioritize your own physical safety, of course. All nearby students stay clear. So is it like, I don't know, the school's bodyguards launching and fighting? Teachers? Or is it students going into combat? In this case, we know that it's her. Whatever her name is. Felsi. That things configured for campus use don't go out too far. I thought it might be relevant that Falsi might decide to help someone and go out of campus range and then become stranded in space or something. Another casualty. I really expected Felsi to die that way, because they wouldn't say it's configured for campus use, don't go out too far, if Felsi didn't intend to go too far eventually. Actually, might as well just take a note of it. Why not? It didn't happen in this episode, so perhaps in the future one. Falsi or Felsi? What's her face? Felsi does move too far and dies. Level 5 alert. We haven't found Suletta. And interesting that Cecilia just came to the Earth House with Martin and with that little boy. She didn't go to her own house. She didn't go to... I don't actually know which house she belongs to and where her loyalties lie, to be perfectly honest with you. She was never really seen with anybody besides the dueling committee, and the dueling committee is scattered all over the place. So, Cecilia is really an interesting character, isn't she? It's a bad ending for all of us, so I guess we should loan you our machine. Our meaning whose? Whose house do you belong to? Demi Barding. That's gonna be a Gunpla set. If it isn't already. Burion. Okay, so Cecilia belongs to Burion. Probably. I'm gonna note it down and Google it on, I don't know, Gundam Wiki or whatever. None of us is a pilot. Letting that pom-pom head use it gives us some chance of survival. Correct. Fine-tune, but it was always Noria who fine-tuned Chuchu's machine. Thankfully, what do you know? It's just the person you need. Not Noria, Nika, sorry. As I said, too many characters. Too many characters. I really get them all confused. I don't know half the names of the Earth House people, so I have to calibrate this thing right away. Can we talk to each other one more time? I really like Martin's growth. He really grew as a person. The controls should feel the same as always. Sorry, Chuchu, this is all my fault that you have to go and fight too. Yeah, I will not forgive you. You need to tell me everything from A to Z so that I know what can I forgive you. Then, and only then, will I decide whether to forgive you or not. That's a good thinking. Chuchu can't just blanket forgive Nika, just give her an in blanco forgiveness. She needs to learn what exactly happened, what exactly is she going to be forgiven, and then she will be able to forgive. Or not, but she probably will. Also, as Nika is here in the cockpit with Chuchu, and earlier I got a similar thought with Noria and Elan. I thought that Noria and Elan might board Elfrid Thorn both at the same time, both be in the cockpit. Why did I get that thought? Because Data Storm kills a person, right? Simple. It's too much for a single neural system, neurons and brain and whatnot to withstand, so it fries your brain. We know that. We know that Ariel is special because it has a second consciousness in it that takes the brunt of the data storm so that the pilot stays safe. What if they did a Darling in the Franxx or Pacific Rim and had two pilots, each of them receiving only half the impact of a data storm? Wouldn't that help? Wouldn't that help? It also brings an interesting possible plot of humans being essentially used as fuel, quote unquote, right? Like you load like 3 people, maybe whatchamacallit, maybe take them from prison, maybe they were sentenced to death or to life or whatever. You load them in, or you clone people and you stuff the clones into the Gundam, and the data storm burns out their lives, and the pilot stays without outside of any danger. Now, I don't think this series would go that dark, but if there was a really actually 100% evil party in this show, I can see a Gundam being fueled by human lives actually being a thing. I can absolutely see Pale even experimenting with something like that. I can see that happening. We know that cloning is possible. Prospera proved that. We don't know if cloning is something that only Prospera knows how to do, or is it something that is widely known, but it is a thing. So, it's a possibility. Also, we know that you can put a person's consciousness inside of a Gundam willingly, right? Or rather, on purpose. We know that Eri got stuck inside of Ariel because she entered the data storm and some fucky wacky things happened. And the only way to survive, for Eri to survive, was Prospera to bind her consciousness to Ariel. But then she did that with Eri's clones. So we know that you can just stuff a person's consciousness into a Gundam, and that makes it perfectly safe for the pilot. I wonder if that's another extension of that technology, of future Gundams being perhaps having an inside consciousness of a clone of the pilot. That would be an interesting technology, right? You want to pilot the Gundam? Cool, but we gotta clone you first, then kill that clone and stuff its consciousness inside of that Gundam, and now we're gonna be able to pilot it without any danger. There's so many implications and so many cool potential uses of all the technologies in this world that it would be a shame if it ended at just 24 episodes. I'm gonna be honest. Now, I don't claim that they're gonna go nowhere near the technologies and the uses that I'm talking about right now, but it would really be cool to explore the technology a little bit more, at least. Otherwise, there's nothing to forgive. Yeah. Choo-choo saving the day. I am taking orders from an Earthian. Well, you don't really have much choice, do you? Help Shadik, of course. Shadik is getting more and more help. If it acted more wisely, your father wouldn't have died. No. No, that was mostly inevitable, to be honest. If you'd never come back now, sure, maybe. Despite you being with her, of course. Of course. And Shadik is constantly, like, dead set on Miorine. Miorine is the only thing in his thoughts, which is creepy, to say the least. That even when he's fighting with his lifelong enemy, it's not entirely because Guel somehow fucked up his plans or whatever. No, Shadik is fighting Guel because Guel somehow dirtied Miorine. What the fuck, Shadik? And who turned me into that? You yourself, motherfucker! The ones who stole everything through war partitioning. You wanted to do war partitioning, Shadik. Oh no, sorry, it's Guel saying. Yeah, no, it's Shadik. You wanted to do war partitioning. What the fuck are you talking about? Who forced us to survive at the expense of others without power? There's no way to break this unjust peace. That's not entirely incorrect. You really can't do much without power. No way to even resist it. Not incorrect. That's why this time I'll take the power from you patients myself. This is a very protagonist versus antagonist sort of a fight. And people aren't wrong when they're saying that Guel is like the true protagonist of the series, because he has all the bearings of a protagonist. He has a growth arc, he has a despair arc, he has an epic fight with his main nemesis. It's right? Shadik is the protagonist. of his own arc. It's essentially an anime within an anime. We have an anime where Suletta is the protagonist, and within that anime, there's a smaller anime where Guel is the protagonist. It's super cool, super interesting. We can leave for our rendezvous point with the Assembly League. You and I each have to bear our own sins by ourselves. This moment specifically, this transition, side view of Daribaldi's face transitioning into a side view of Guel's face. This is so Gundam, and this is so protagonist. And the epic music in the background. This is the final fight of the season kind of material. I love it. But even so, you'll pay for yours here. All that was missing is Shadik's face coming in from the upper right corner, and both Guel screaming from the bottom left and Shadik screaming from the upper right as they clash, with images of their Gundam faces behind, interposed behind them. And here we have Shadik from the upper right. That's the very thing I've always hated about you. And he says as he charges in. And a final clash. And you'd think that Shadik is on the losing position. But, he has his drones. Because those aren't Gambits, I don't think. They are just drones. And single drone just completely dismantles her. Sneep, sneep, and she only has legs. I really was hoping that Shadik is just gonna crush Michaelis' head, but no. And the classic, Guel! Matoi Ryuko! Sasuke! That's classic. That's classic. You'll never gain a thing. You go forward, you gain too. And how well synchronized it is with music. And suddenly Michaelis is turned into a nugget. Whew. What a fight. What a fight. Damn. I love it. I love it. I love that Guel was able to creatively use his drones and that he won despite green beams, despite using limiters. Shadik took off the limiters, had backup and whatnot, wasn't able to defeat Guel. Unfortunately, that's the end for Daribaldi. But someone catches him. Who is it? I know, this seems to be a mass-produced mobile suit, so I've no clue who's inside, and there's multiple other mass-produced mobile suits. School security, maybe? I don't know. They don't look like cathedral forces either. I'll never forgive you, but I'm not about to let you die either. And Shadik just gives up. To maintain order, the Benerit Group sacrificed fellow patients at the school, just admitting. The Assembly League wouldn't act just because of Earthian losses, so they needed to kill some patients to force the Assembly League to act. Okay, now the attack on Asticassia makes a little bit more sense. But they'll finally get off their butts now. Problem is, the Assembly League isn't really on the side of Earthians either. They are their own faction almost. The Assembly League does consist of Spatians, but I don't think their loyalties lie with either Spatians or Earthians. They just want to benefit. And if pitting Earthians against Spatians is to the benefit of the Assembly League, they will do that. If destabilizing Spatians is to their benefit, they will do that. They will fund Dawn of Hope if it's to their benefit. It's kind of like with politicians. They split society into two parts. Society is busy fighting with each other. Meanwhile, politicians are getting all the benefit, right? There's politician on the side A, but really he supports both sides. There's politician on side B, but really he supports both sides. Either way, they both benefit, whoever is in power. It's very true to life. Oh, my foolish son. And the final combat of the episode with Lefrit Thorn. I'll destroy it all. And suddenly, suddenly Elan in Lefrit Ur. What do you get with all your running? You only hold your breath and avert your eyes. Sophie was alive, you're nothing like her. Obviously, but you're not Sophie either. The fact that Sophie was a suicidal maniac with no regard for life, hers or others, doesn't mean you have to be. You don't have to go in her footsteps. There are better ways of honoring her. Yeah, those drawings, that's the real you. You create, you don't destroy. You take in the beauty of the world and put it on paper. Giving up your life and destroying, and that's not you. You just think it has to be you. Scribbling was your only escape. But yeah, if you don't know how to live, if you only see death as your future, I'll search for that with you. We're gonna learn how to live together. If you don't want to run aimlessly, just take me to the place in your drawings. It won't be running anymore, it will be traveling. Right? And the rest can come later. We figure things out. We are allowed to live. And as long as we live, we can figure things out. We can make things better. They stopped, of course. You say, come with me, then take me there. Tell me later your real name. And she dies. Sucks that there apparently isn't any communication. That apparently Elon couldn't just go to open channel and say, hey, Noria is giving up, she's not a threat anymore. Or, you know, some universal sign like popping up a white flag or something like that. Instead, she just died by the hand of a generic cathedral grunt. I don't think it was even the fat pilot, whatever his name is, starts with N. I think it's just a rando cathedral member. The end of another hope. The end of hope for life. The end of hope for Elon to go through the life together. The end of hope for Noria. And oh, for a moment, the highlights underneath the eyes of Ur kinda looked like tears, and I was confused. How the fuck can a Gundam cry? But no, not the case. And now Elan takes over the Gundvolvas and runs away. To where? I don't know, but he will probably be back before the end of the season. What's he gonna do? I don't know. Another end of hope. Petra's dead. She will not go for a date with Lauda. She will not ask him to buy her whatever she wants. She will not ask him to go wherever she wants. The people she saved are also dead under the rubble. The end of hope for Suletta. She found a new friend, and now that friend is no longer there. The people they rescued, they are probably also dead. The end of hope. That's an amazing place for a title card. The end of hope. Right here, right now. Silent, quiet, with just slow piano music. And the aftermath. He's freed. There's a lot of destroyed mobile suits and Gundams floating around. Camille. That's a Polish name. Camille Hasink. Call duration 040. So someone was calling Camille, and now they are dead. Here lies Thorn. Beautiful art on the Thorn. All the dents and whatnot. And a hole in the chest. There's not even any remains to bury. This is a Gandvolva. Looks like a Gandvolva. That's also destroyed, and destroyed a bit of Asticassia. So many body bags. So many friends, so many loved ones dead. Choo-Choo sees more dead people. Hopefully not of the Earth House. And we know that they weren't of the Earth House because Earth House people are here. This isn't a dream, no. You wish it was, but alas, it isn't. Suletta, I don't care. Can you help? That's what matters. There are people stuck inside. Some may even still be saved. Some may even still be alive. We need to do something about it. She went back to her search and rescue occupation, so to speak, that she had on Mercury, right? Suletta was the one who was piloting Ariel to save miners and deliver goods and things like that. And now she's in her element, saving people. That's what she's good at. And she's driven. She's broken, but driven. She's no longer indifferent. She now has a goal. Short term, however it might be, but it is a goal. It is a drive that she has. And that's what everybody else needed. To get their minds off despair and bring some hope. Let's do it. I'm gonna grab a mobile craft with my offset eyes. I'm gonna grab some first aid kits. We're gonna split up and we're gonna start saving people. That's what Gundam is all about saving people, about medicine. Shit. What an episode. And the next one, what we can do now, so dealing with the aftermath. Asticassia is destroyed, people are dead, Elon fucked off, this CEO of Grassley is saved, Shadik is probably in jail, so many people dead, so many people jailed, Guel came out on top. Guel will probably become the new president with what he did. He will probably also have Grassley's backing, I mean, for sure. Now we are... The dust is settling. Right? The tension is done. We saved some people, we didn't save some. Situations fucked on Earth. Situations fucked but stable on Asticassia. What can we do now? Let's plan. What do we do? Do we go to Earth and save Miorine and let the Earthians just fight with Benerit? Do we, I don't know, do we help the Earthians? Do we get Guel the presidency and he takes all of the Benerit forces away from Earth and we leave Earth alone? What do we do about Prospera, about Quiet Zero? Right? It's going to be probably, possibly, maybe, I don't know, the episode of thinking of the future, of possibilities, of what we can do now shit's fucked, how do we fix it? Or how do we go around the fact parts of it to get to some sane conclusion? Or the title might as well just not mean nothing. We don't know. And that's a beautiful art. Noria and Elon, what could have been, but wasn't. I mean, at least Noria is with Sophie now, so if that's of any consolation. Huh. I was correct in my assessment that defecation is hitting the ventilation, because it did. It did oh so much. The previous episode was already chaotic and destructive, and so many bad things happened. Today's episode is even more of that. So many people dead, so much destruction, so many hopes thrashed, so many lives left to never be realized. So many broken hearts, so many broken hopes. And we didn't even see anything of the situation on Earth. And I can imagine it's not much better than the situation at Asticassia. I don't think I have much more to say, to be perfectly honest with you. I think I said most of what I wanted to say, and now I'm just, the whole tension is just leaving my body. It was an intense episode. We got essentially an end of season fight between Shadiq and Guel, and it kind of is an end of their little anime, of Guel's little sub-anime. So I guess it's only fitting. It sucks that Noria is dead, of course. It sucks that what's her face? Lauda's girlfriend is dead. It sucks that so many people died. But the main cast is still alive, so that's what counts. Even Chuchu, despite throwing herself into the fray of battle, she's still very much alive. But the repercussions of what happened are going to be impossible to predict, honestly. What's gonna happen between Lauda and Guel now? Is Lauda going to take the explanation that, hey, it was by mistake? Or is he not? Either is equally plausible. What's gonna happen to Asticassia? What will Suletta do after the saving of the people under the debris is done? What's gonna happen on Earth? There's so many open threads that some of them are closed, sure. The big chunk of the story being Shadiq's manipulations, that's kind of a closed chapter now, although something tells me even from behind bars Shadiq might have his grabby hands put in where they don't belong. But we'll see. We'll see what his fate will even be, honestly. I just don't know what's going to happen. And I don't have the mental capacity right now to think of what might possibly going to happen. So I guess I'm just gonna end this episode without much of closing thoughts. But maybe you guys, maybe you have some closing thoughts for this episode. And if so, do say so in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? And there's no spoilers, of course, but if you have spoilers for other Gundams maybe, or if you just want to talk in real time, there's my Discord here also in the description. But if you want to leave a comment, leave it first on YouTube for the algorithm gods. Similarly, for the algorithm, like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but please tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Gundam Witch from Mercury, but also Ancient Magus Bride, Symphogear XV, Zesoshi Nice, and the concert. Madoka Magica will be coming after Symphogear is done. I also have Benuria Saito Sanisakai ni Iku to finish, and other shows coming at you in the future. I also stream sometimes, mostly gachas, so stay tuned by clicking the bell icon somewhere down below the video. If you want, you can support the channel monetarily as well by spending some money on Patreon, linked in the description below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows, like Symphogear and Madoka Magica, for example, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits that you will see shortly. And if you don't want to spend any money, no problem. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the list of my wonderful Patreons. QB, Without the Net, Fruit, Purple Songs, Zay Rayner, Aquamancer, Fussel, Dr. Watt, Marsh, and Hans Peter. And you can join their ranks if you want without the need to start Quite Zero or things like that.